So we're finally making progress on this system, and this is the part where things get interactive. Let's see what's up. So this is a cool one because we're finally going to start having like a gameplay loop, okay? We're going to have inputs. The loop isn't finished yet in this video because we aren't going into the attacks yet, but we are going to use the input system. We're going to use the buttons and update real-time data from the attacks from the creature onto the UI of the system, okay? So let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with adding some attacks into the player, okay? So let's go into the creatures folder. Let's go into the player, which was called Hideo Kojima. Let's change his name for now, okay? So we're gonna call him Spaceman. Let's see. There it is, Spaceman. Okay, let's change him here also. Rename Spaceman. Okay, great. So now we've got no attacks, so we're gonna add them. We can add them here. We can put how many attacks we can add to each creature. We're gonna put 4. That's the number we're gonna use. So when we put 4, now we've got 4 spaces. We can add one here, one here, one here, and one here. Okay, so now we can go here and we can see the list of attacks, but now we've only got one. So we've got to create the other 3 attacks that we're going to use. You can create any number of attacks you want. You can have 1,000 attacks, 5,000 attacks, 4 attacks, 10 attacks, whatever number you want, okay? But to keep things in order and to beat like the classic Pokemons, we're going to have 4 for each creature, okay? So let's go into the attacks folder and let's create 3 more. Okay, let's go into create creature attack. This is gonna be named grenade. Okay, we're gonna call this one grenade. We're gonna say its power is 30, its accuracy is 90, and we're gonna put its power points to 10. Okay, great. So now we've got the grenade. We're gonna rename it here also. Okay, we've got grenade, we've got plasma shot, and let's put a description to the grenade and explosive device. Great. So now let's go into create. Let's go into creature, new attack. We're gonna call this one digital shock. Great. Okay, let's go here into the inspector, digital shock. Let's say this one has a power of 50 and accuracy of 95, and this is gonna have 20 power points. Okay, so only one more. Let's go into creature, new attack. This one is gonna be called, let's say this is gonna be creature stun or mental stun. Okay, let's say that we can stun the other creature, okay, the enemy creature. Okay, and we're gonna go here, we're gonna rename it. This is gonna be mental stun. Okay, great. So let's add its data. This is gonna have a power of 43 and accuracy of 89 and power points 30. Okay, we can use that attack 30 points before we have to recharge it. Great. Okay, so now we've got these 4 attacks, but as you can see, we can't add the attack type. Okay, and we also need types for the attacks, and we have to fix that. Okay, so to fix that, we can go into the scripts. Let's go into attack base. Let's open that one, and as you can see, we had this line 13. If you didn't have it, don't worry, you can write it right now. In line 13, we had it as a comment, which was the one in which we created the box in the inspector to set the type of attack that it's gonna be depending on the creature. Okay, so now we've got this error because it's saying that creature type doesn't exist. So we can fix this going into the creature base. Okay, let's go into the creature base script. And if you remember, we indeed had an enum with the creature types. We had normal, fire, shock, explosive, and corrosive. We had a public class for the learnable attacks, but we've got these two classes which are public, but they are inside the creature base class and they have to be outside so we can access them on those other scripts. So let's get this, let's copy this, let's select this, the class for the learnable attacks and the class for the creature type. Let's select that, let's copy it, let's go outside of the creature base class and let's paste it here outside. Okay, and now we can save this, and if we go back to the attack base, you can see that we've got a field for the creature type and we've got no error anymore. So let's save that, let's go back into Unity, and now if you select an attack in the inspector, you're gonna see that now you can set the type of the attack. Okay, so this is digital shock. Let's go into type, let's say this one is shock. Grenade type, explosive. Mental stone type, we're gonna set it to normal, and plasma, we're gonna set it to normal. Okay, great. Okay, so we're gonna save this, great, and let's continue. Now we're gonna go into the package manager and we're gonna add the new input system. Right now Unity has its own input system that is inside the engine, but Unity as an engine, as a company, added a new input system, but we have to download it as an external package from the package manager. So we're gonna go and do that because that is what is gonna enable us to use the UI and the buttons in a better way, so we can use it with keyboards, with Xbox controllers, PS4, PS5 controllers. So it's gonna give us a more flexibility, more order to use this type of UIs that we're gonna set for the attacks and for the actions of the player. Okay, so now we're gonna go and do that. So let's go into window, let's go into package manager, and here we're gonna wait for it to load. If you aren't seeing the packages from the Unity registry, you're only seeing the ones you have in your project. You have to go here into packages and set it here to Unity registry, and it's gonna show the ones that are in the Unity servers that you can download. Okay, so let's go here and find the input system. Okay, so there it is. This is the new input system. As you can see the description, a new input system which can be used as a more extensible and customizable alternative to Unity's classic input system. This is an official package, okay? So don't worry about it. So let's go and install it. We're gonna wait for it to load. It's gonna load a bit, and after it loads, it's gonna ask you something so you can refresh the engine, the software. So there it is, the warning. This project is using the new input system package, but the native platform backend for the new input system are not enabled. So we're gonna say yes to enable it all over the software. Okay, so it's gonna load. We're gonna wait for it to load. There it is, it's loading. It's importing this new input system, which is the one that is gonna work with the type of buttons and the actions that we want. So let's wait for it to load. Okay, there it is. So now we go back, and we already have the new input system. So how do we enable it? We have to go here. If you remember, we had an object called event system. So we're gonna select that, and here you can see that we already have a warning saying that we are using the standalone input model, which uses the old input manager. So we're gonna replace that, clicking here, replace with input system input model. Okay, so we're gonna click that, and that's all. We already replaced the old input system with the new one. Okay, so now we're gonna disable some stuff here, like this one that says deselect on background click. Let's deselect that, because if we don't do that, it's gonna give us issues here in the UI. Okay, so deselect that, so you can have peace of mind that even if the player comes here and clicks with the mouse in an empty space, you're not gonna deselect the buttons of the UI. Okay, great. So now let's go into the battle manager. Let's go and extend the battle manager. Let's see the canvas, and inside the battle dialog box, we're gonna add two objects. Okay, two empty objects. Okay, first we're gonna go here and we're gonna add an action select object. Here are gonna go inside the actions, the one that says fight or run or backpack or inventory, whatever. Okay, and we're gonna duplicate that, and this one is gonna be called attack select. Okay, so it's not the same. First, this one is gonna have the buttons that go here, and the second is gonna have the buttons that go here inside the dialog box. Okay, great. So now let's go into the action select, and inside action select we're gonna add 4 buttons. Okay, the normal ones, the legacy ones. Okay, because this is very simple, we really don't need the new type of buttons. Okay, so let's go into legacy and let's add a button, and this is gonna be called the fight button. Okay, then we're gonna duplicate that, and this is gonna be called the run button. We're gonna duplicate that. This is gonna be called the backpack, and we're gonna duplicate that. This is gonna be called I don't know, weapons maybe. Okay, or models or whatever. Okay, so there it is. We're not gonna implement any of these in weapons or backpack or anything of that, but we're gonna have the buttons here just to have a better UI. Okay, so let's go, and we have here the buttons, and we want to add the buttons that we want to use. Okay, so let's go into the assets folder, let's go into the sprites folder, and this is the button that we're gonna use for those, the button 1. Okay, so let's change here the filter mode to point no filter, the compression to none, and let's apply that. Great, so now we can use it as pixel art, and let's select the 4 buttons, the fight, run, backpack, and weapons, and let's add this one as the source image, and there it is. That's what we want. Okay, so now we want to select this object, the action select. We're gonna move it to here, right around there. Okay, so we want to have a grid for these 4 buttons. Okay, so let's go into the action select and add a component, and we're gonna add a grid layout. Okay, so let's click that, and as you can see, when I click that, I get a grid layout. So we're gonna change some things around here in the inspector. So let's go into child alignment. We're gonna leave that to upper left. Constraint, we're gonna leave this to fixed column count. We're gonna set that to 2. Great, so now that's looking more like what we need. Okay, so let's go in here, and we're gonna change the cell size in the x-axis and in the y-axis. So let's go and change a bit in the x-axis, and in the y-axis let's change those values. Let's select the action select, and let's try moving it. Okay, so right around there, just a little bit less for the X. Great, so now we've got the buttons here. As you can see, they're gonna look like this in the game. So that is all right for now. We can change anything later. Okay, so now we've got those 4. So let's change the font and the color in each one. So let's go inside each one. Let's go here into text, and let's select the 4. Okay, so we can change them at the same time. So let's select them. Let's go into font, and we're gonna set them to Pixelary. Let's go into color, and this is gonna be white. Great. And let's change a bit the size right around there. Great. Okay. So we're gonna go here into the first one. This is gonna be the fight. This is gonna be the second one. This is gonna be the backpack. Let's imagine we have a backpack in the game. This is gonna be the third one. This is gonna be the run button when we wanna flee, okay? And the last one is gonna be the, let's imagine we have weapons, okay? So we're not gonna implement that, but let's imagine we have that, okay? Just for the sake of having a nice UI for making this system, okay? So now we've got the 4 buttons. Maybe they're a little bit small, but we can change that later. Okay, so now we've got the 4 of those, and we can go now into the coding part. Okay, let's go into the coding part, and let's go into the battle manager, and let's open the battle manager script. And here we're gonna set something up. No, not first into the battle manager. Let's go into the battle dialog box. That's the first one that we're gonna edit today. Okay, so we're gonna add some variables here. I'm gonna speed up the video in this part, and then I'm gonna explain each variable one by one. Okay, so we're gonna speed it up here. Great. So we've finished with the new variables that we're gonna need to implement the new functions into the game. So I'm gonna explain each one by one. So first, we added a variable called action select. It's a game object, so we can add any type of object here. Which object we're gonna add here in the inspector? We're gonna add the action select, the one that has the 4 buttons that we've created right now. Second, we have the attack select. We're gonna create that one in a bit. It's the same type of object, so we're gonna duplicate the action select, and we're gonna change the names of everything that goes inside. Third, we have the attack description. This is gonna have 2 texts inside. It's gonna have the text for the PowerPoints and a text for the type of the attack when we have an attack selected in the UI. Fourth, we're gonna have a list for the buttons, for the text, for the actions. Okay, we're gonna have a list for the text for the attack text. So it's gonna be separated. Okay, the attack buttons is gonna be separated in a group because of the type of implementation that we're using here. We want to know when we have certain button selected, but the text is gonna be separated because we want to add the text from one place, but we want to know, depending on the description that we're gonna have about the PowerPoints and the type of the attack, we need that separated. Okay, so as I said, here we have the PowerPoint text and the type text, and we want to get the data for the attacks and the attack description. We want to get that data from whom? From the player. Okay, so we're gonna add a battle unit, and we're gonna add the player unit here. Okay, so now we're gonna add 3 functions to toggle or show or not show or deactivate whatever we need inside the UI for the battle. Okay, so now we're gonna go into coding those 3 functions that are gonna be the ones that help us toggle what goes inside the screen in certain moments. Okay, so let's go and do that. Okay, so let's go back into VS Code or whatever coding editor you're using, and let's open the battle dialog box script. Okay, so let's open that, and at the end of this script, after the method that we were using for the dialog, we're gonna add some new methods. Okay, some new functions. Okay, so first we're gonna add a function called toggle dialog text. This is gonna be to deactivate or activate the dialog text that we already created. Okay, just the object. So let's go here and let's say this is gonna be a public because we want to access it in the battle manager. This is gonna be a public void toggle dialog text, and this is with the parameter that we're gonna pass to this one to know if the things that we want are activated or not. It's gonna be a boolean. This is gonna be called activated. Okay, great. So now we've got the structure of our method, and inside of this one is gonna be a dialog text. The object, remember the object that we've created before, this is gonna be enabled, which is inside this type of objects that the text objects have this enabled attribute, and we're gonna set that to activated. Okay, so depending on the parameter we pass here inside the argument, if it is true or it is false, this is gonna be true or false. Okay, so let's go and create a new method called public void toggle actions, and this also is gonna have a boolean for activated. Okay, great. So inside of this one we're gonna have the action select object, and what we're gonna, because this is an object, this is different. Okay, so the texts have this one which is enabled when we can change the value, but the objects in Unity have this method called set active. Okay, so we're gonna have this one to whatever value we're passing here in the argument. Okay, so this is gonna be to what activated, the same thing. Okay, great. So third method, this is gonna be a public void toggle attacks. Okay, and the same thing, activated. And inside this one we're gonna have attack select. That object is gonna be set active, and to what, to activate it, to whatever argument we're passing here into the method. Okay, great. So that's gonna be activated, and the attack description, which is gonna be another object that we're gonna create in a bit, this is gonna be also to set active, activated, which is gonna be true or false depending on what we pass here in the argument. Great. So that's what we're gonna need for now. Okay, so we're gonna save this, and we're gonna assign these variables in the inspector. Okay, so we've serialized them so we can access them, but we gotta assign these objects because for now they are empty. So we're gonna save this, we're gonna go back into Unity, and let's select the battle dialog box here. Okay, so there it is. Now we've got the values, but we wanna assign the values. So action select the object called action select and drag it. Great. Attack select, we don't have an attack select yet, so we're gonna do that now. So we're gonna select the action select, and we're gonna delete this one, and to make it easy we're gonna duplicate this one. We're gonna rename it, and this is gonna be attack select. Great. So we're gonna move this one because this one is gonna go here inside the box. Okay, so we're gonna change the cell size for this one. Let's change that in the X. We're gonna make it bigger and a bit smaller in the Y, and right around there. Okay, we're gonna have that right there. Okay, great. So that's gonna look great. Don't worry if this is going on top of this, or this is activated, or this is deactivated, whatever. We're gonna do that through code. We're gonna go enabling and disabling whatever we need inside the screen. Great. So now let's select the battle dialog box and let's assign our attack select right here in the inspector. Great. So now it's asking us for an attack description. Great. So let's create inside the battle dialog box an empty object called, this is gonna be attack description. Okay, great. So let's go into battle dialog box and let's assign that one. Okay, and as I said, this one is gonna have two text inside. So let's go into UI and let's add a legacy, a simple text. We really don't need a text max pro for this type of thing. So let's go into legacy, let's go into text, and this is gonna be the pp text, how many PowerPoints we're gonna have in the attack that we have selected on the screen. We're gonna duplicate this one, and this is gonna be type text. Okay, great. Okay, so where are these ones going to go? They are gonna go around here. So remember, we wanna have, as in the example that we have in the beginning of each one of these videos, we wanna have another box here, which is like this one, okay, but smaller. So we're gonna go into attack description and we're gonna add an image. Okay, we're gonna add an image. Okay, and for the source image, let's go into assets, let's go into sprites, and we're gonna be using this one called stats box. Okay, so select the attack description and set the source image to attack box. Great. So we're gonna change that here in the filter mode, point no filter, compression none. We're gonna apply that, and there it is. Now we have it as pixel art. Okay, so let's move this object. We're gonna organize it, and let's change these ones. We're gonna change the font to Pixelary, and we're gonna change the color to white. Okay, great. So in the attack description, let's add a layout to order these two values. Okay, so let's go into layout, and this is gonna be a vertical layout. Okay, great. So there it is. We've got a vertical layout. Okay, so let's go into the layout attributes, and let's say the spacing, let's put it a bit down. Child alignment, let's put it in the middle center. A bit too far. Let's say middle left. Maybe. Okay, so maybe we're gonna leave that into the middle left. Let's try moving this one. No, we can't because we have the grid. So let's see how we can set this one. Now middle right, lower left, neither, lower center. Okay, so no, neither of them is working. So we're gonna deactivate this, and we're gonna select both of those. We're gonna move them around here. We're gonna do this by hand. Okay, so we're gonna go here and there. Okay, so let's change the size of this box because it looks funky. Let's change the size of the box. It's gonna be right around there. So the same height as the dialog box to have it orderly. And let's select these ones. Let's move them to the center, and both of these can have a bit of bigger text. Okay, so let's select the pp text. We're gonna place that there. Let's select the type text, and we're gonna place that there. Great, so now we've got that. Okay, so don't worry if the initial buttons are staying in the back. Okay, so first, don't forget to do this, because if you don't do this, what I'm gonna do right now, you're gonna have issues. Okay, so go into the event system, and the event system in the inspector has a box called first selected. What does this mean? The button or the object that goes here is gonna be the one that is first selected when we press play. And which object or which button we want to be first selected? The fight button. Okay, so let's select this one. We're gonna disable it for now. Great. And we want to have this one, okay, as the first object selected. Okay, so let's go and select the event system and drag the fight button into the first selected game object. Okay, great. So now we've got that. Okay, so we already set the variables for 3 of the objects. Let's go into battle dialog box. We've set the action select, we've set the attack select, the attack description, and now we want to set the other variables. Okay, so action text, this is gonna be 4. Okay, 4 values. Okay, so it's telling us to add the buttons that we want here, which are the action text or action buttons, these 4. Okay, so let's assign them. So here it goes, 1 button. So if you want to try to drag another type of thing or object into here, like this text, it's not gonna let you do that. Okay, because we said in the script that this was a list of buttons. This was the list of buttons, this was a list of text, this was the list of buttons, and it's only going to accept the type of data that we set on the script. So let's drag the run button, let's drag the back button, and let's drag the weapons button. Okay, great. So now we need the 4 attack text. Okay, so we want to drag only the text for the attacks, and the text are inside of each button. Okay, so let's go into attack select, and we're gonna change these ones. Okay, so we're gonna change this one. This is gonna be attack 1. So let's change the names. Okay, attack 1. This is gonna be attack 2. This is gonna be attack 3, and this is gonna be attack 4. Great. Okay, so now we've got a drag. Let's select the battle dialog box, and we want to drag the text for each one. Okay, so attack 1, let's drag the text here. Attack 2, let's drag the text here. Attack 3, let's drag the text here. And attack 4, let's drag the text here. Great. So now it's asking for the pp text. Remember, this one is inside the attack description. So pp text, there it is. And type text, there it is. And who is our player unit, which is the one that is gonna give us this data here, the player. So let's drag that to the player unit inside the inspector. Great. So we made progress, and you're gonna see that really fast this is gonna start working just by adding some methods around here. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the battle manager script, and we're gonna start calling those functions that we created in the battle dialog box script. Okay, so let's go and do that. So let's go back into assets, let's go back into scripts, and let's open the battle manager. Okay, there it is. Okay, so we're gonna add here some new methods. Okay, so let's go into the end of the script, and first we're gonna add a method for the first thing that happens. Which is the first thing that happens? The player action. This method is the one that is gonna show us the 4 buttons, and it's gonna tell us to select an action. Okay, so we're gonna start with that. So we're gonna set this one for like a coroutine. Okay, as a coroutine. Okay, so as you remember, enumerator. Great, and this is gonna be called player action coroutine. Okay, so we're gonna set this one to we want to start a coroutine. We want to start the battle dialog box coroutine. which one we want, the set dialog coroutine, and we're gonna set a message here which is gonna say select an action. Okay, so that's gonna be the first thing that happens when we press play. Okay, second, we want to wait some time before we show the buttons. I really try to build this in two ways. First, by adding by showing the buttons at the same time the text was showing, but that looks funky. So I added this you'll return new, wait for seconds, and we're gonna wait for just half a second, and after half a second we're gonna see the the buttons. Okay, so 0.5 seconds is gonna be the time we're gonna wait, and after that, remember, we already have a method to show the object that has the action buttons, and which was the name of this. It was inside the battle dialog box, and the name was toggle actions. There it is, and this is gonna be set to what? To true. Okay, great. As it was a boolean, this is gonna be set to true. Okay, so we want to call this coroutine, we want to call it as a function. Okay, so I'm gonna encapsulate all of the coroutines I'm using here in the battle manager as functions, because some of these coroutines are gonna be called when I click a button, but I cannot call the coroutines in the inspector here in Unity. Okay, but I can call conventional methods. So what you can do to do that is encapsulate the coroutine inside the method with the same name. Okay, so we're gonna create a public because we want to access it on the inspector depending on which button we click. This is gonna be a public, and it's gonna have the same name, a player action. Okay, let's correct this. This is gonna be a player action coroutine. There it is. Okay, great. And inside the player action coroutine, what is gonna happen? We're gonna start the coroutine that we have down there, the player action coroutine. Great. Okay, so that is very simple. This is simply calling, this is gonna be a public void that is simply calling all that we have here. But why am I calling it here? Because sometimes, depending on the button with the action we want to activate on depending on the button, we want to access that on the inspector. You're gonna see that in a bit. Great. So now let's go, and after I click the fight button, I wanna show the attacks. Okay, that is gonna be the next thing that I want. Okay, so let's code that. Okay, let's go, and we're gonna create also an enumerator coroutine. This is gonna be a player attack method, and this is gonna be inside. We wanna call the battle dialog box, and inside of this one we wanna toggle dialog text. What do we want to do with the dialog text? Because we're showing the attacks, the attack boxes, this is gonna be false. We want to deactivate it. Okay, and let's make this a bit bigger. And also we want to deactivate, let's go into battle dialog box. We want to toggle actions. Which are the actions? The 4 buttons that we have on the right corner. Okay, so toggle actions is gonna be false. Okay, great. Also, so we're gonna go here, and we're gonna wait for a bit of time to show the buttons for the attacks. I don't want to show that immediately. I want to wait a bit. Okay, so we're gonna, you'll return new, wait for seconds, and how much time I want to wait? Just 0.2 seconds. Okay, that's all. I don't want it to be immediately because it looks funky, but just putting those little amounts of time make things look better. Okay, so let's go into battle dialog box, and what do we want to activate? We want to toggle the attacks. So what value we're gonna pass? We're gonna pass the value of true, okay? So that's how we're gonna toggle these attacks. But as I said, this is a coroutine and I can't access that in the inspector. So what I do is encapsulate it in its own method, okay? So we're gonna create a new method here. This is gonna be a public void because I wanna access it in the inspector, and this is gonna be called the same player attack. The same name as the coroutine. So player attack coroutine, I just corrected that. There it is. And what do I want to call inside the player attack coroutine? I want to start the coroutine called player attack coroutine. There it is. Okay. So let's add the parentheses. And there it is. Now I can use this one in the inspector. So let's save that so we can go and activate it in the inspector. Okay. So let's save that. Okay. So let's go here. And right now we're gonna deactivate these ones, the attacks. Okay, so let's select the attack select and we're gonna deactivate that here in the inspector. Okay, so let's go here and let's select the fight button. Okay, so each button has this on click method inside its inspector. So this is where we say what happens when we click that button. Okay, so we're gonna add an action to send a message to this button. And where's the action coming from this button? It's coming from the battle manager. So here is where we add the script that we want to get the action. So let's go into battle manager and let's drag it here into the box. Okay, so what function do we want to activate when we click the fight button? Okay, let's go here and let's go into battle manager, and what do we want to activate? The player attack. Okay, so when we click that, when we submit the action for that button, we want to set the player attack method. Remember, this one is the one that is encapsulating all of the actions that are inside of the coroutine. Okay, so let's go and try this for now to see if it works, and if it doesn't, we're gonna keep working on this. Okay, so let's deactivate also the action select, and let's go into battle manager to try this. If it doesn't work, don't worry, it's gonna work at the end of this lesson. Let's go into battle manager, and just after we say that an enemy creature has appeared, we wanna call the player action. Okay, so we're gonna say after this one. Yes, after this one. Okay, so let's go into here. Let's go into here, and here we're gonna call the player action. Okay, for now we're gonna call it like that. Later we're gonna correct that. Okay, because we don't want to call the player action always. If the enemy creature is faster than us, we want to call the enemy creature action first. Okay, but for now we're gonna call the player action. Okay, so we're gonna save this and we're gonna go back into Unity. So disable what isn't needed right now. So right now we only need the dialog box. Okay, so let's press play. Let's see if it works. Okay, so we've got an error. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. So let's click this one. Okay, start coroutine, set a battle. So we've got this error. We're gonna see what is happening now. Okay, so we're gonna stop this to see why this didn't work. Okay, so this was a very lame error on my part. So if you did what you had to do, this wouldn't happen to you. I didn't, so it happened to me. So what was happening was when I pressed play, I got this error. It said that I hadn't said some stuff, and I was checking where was the error, and the scripts are written all right, but I remembered that my player unit, my spaceman scriptable object, my creature has no attacks assigned. So that is gonna give you an error. So make sure that you set the attacks for the creatures you're gonna use. Okay, so if you don't, even if everything is written all right, you're gonna get errors and you're gonna think that you wrote something incorrect in your code. So let's go into the spaceman and let's set his attacks. Digital shock is gonna be unlocked on level 1. uh, Mental stone is gonna be unlocked on level 2. Grenade is gonna be unlocked on level 3, and plasma shot is gonna be unlocked on level 4. Great. So now if we go and press play, everything is gonna work like we intended. So there it is. A script marauder has appeared a bit fast. So we wanna add a pause after text ends writing itself. So where can we add that? We can go into the scripts folder. We can go into the battle dialog box. Let's open that, and we can go inside the coroutine for the set dialog, and we can add a bit of time for every time text writes itself inside the game. We can add a bit of time to so we can wait for it to go into the next writing of text. Okay, so we can read what is written inside the screen. So we're gonna add yield return new. Wait for seconds here. We're gonna wait. Let's try half a second. Okay, let's see if it's too fast. Let's see if it's too slow. So we're gonna save that. We're gonna go back into Unity and we're gonna press play. Okay, let's press play. And there it is. Scripts Marauder has appeared. Great. Select an action. Okay, so now things are working. So half a second is okay. We're gonna leave that as it is. And as you can see, this button is selected, but we can't really see it because we have no selected color for these buttons. Okay, so we're gonna set that to see things better. Okay, so we're gonna stop this and we're gonna go into the buttons. Let's go into action select. Let's select the fight, the run, the backpack, and the weapons button. And here in the inspector, we can set the appearance of the button depending on what is happening. So we have a normal color, highlighted color, pressed color, it gets a bit dark, and selected color. As you can see, it's the same as normal color. We really don't want that. So let's go into selected color and let's set it to whatever. Let's see how this yellow works. Okay, let's see how that yellow works. Make sure you are selecting the 4 buttons. Okay, so let's go into play mode and let's see. It ends and not yet. It looks a bit better, but not yet. Okay, so we're gonna stop that with the button selected. We're gonna go here and let's try a bit of blue. Let's see how it looks with the blue one. Okay, let's press play. Okay, let's wait for it to show. There it is, selecting action. Okay, so that looks a bit funky, but we're gonna stay with that for now, just for the sake of making progress. Okay, so you can see now we've got the buttons. We can see which one is selected with the highlighted color, and as you can see, we can change the position of these buttons with a controller. You can connect a controller to your PC or Mac and try this. You can use the arrows in your keyboard, or you can use WASD to navigate this type of menus. And we can do this because of the new input system. That's what lets us do that with any type of device we are using. Okay, for this type of UIs. So let's go into the fight button and let's click the enter or the submit or whatever, or A, the one that you have in your controller, and let's click enter. And see, now we're talking. Now we're talking. We made some progress, and we can see that we can see the buttons that we have to change the text, because these were buttons that we brought from here. But now we can see that we are going into the next step of the battle system. Okay, so we're gonna stop this, and we're gonna go into coding to see this info update. Depending on the button that we have selected, we're gonna see this info updating here, and we want to get the names of the attacks from the player unit. Okay, so we're gonna stop this, and we're gonna go and do that. Okay, so let's go and correct the text of the attack buttons just for the sake of it, because it doesn't matter that the script is gonna update the data, but just to have some order inside our workspace, we're gonna correct that. So let's go and activate the attack select object, and let's select the text of each of the buttons, and let's change it to attack. Okay, no, that's the name. Here, the text. Great. So that's what we need. So let's disable it. Great. So now let's go into the battle dialog box, and let's make sure we have everything set here to make this system work. So we have the dialog text, we have the action select object, the attack select object, the description, we have the text, the buttons for the actions, we have the text for the attacks, and we gotta add, because we didn't add the buttons for the attacks. Remember, those are separated from the text, and we gotta add them here. We're gonna go put number 4, and we're gonna drag them here. So let's drag the attack 1 and the attack 2, the attack 3, and the attack 4. So don't forget to do that, because if you don't do that, the next thing that we're gonna code right now is not going to work for you. Okay, great. So now let's go back into our code editor. Let's open our battle dialog box script. Okay, great. So right at the bottom, we're gonna start coding a new script, and this is a new method, and this is the one that is going to update the names of the attacks inside the buttons. Okay, so we're gonna start, and this is gonna be a public method because we wanna access it right from the battle manager. So this is gonna be a public void. We're gonna name this set creature attacks. Okay, great. And this is gonna be named this is gonna need the parameter, the argument that we wanna pass is gonna be a list of attacks that is coming from our player unit. Okay, so we're gonna say a list of type of class attack, and it's gonna be named attacks. Okay, great. So we're gonna start coding this. So we're gonna use a loop to go inside the list, and we're gonna see what is inside each of the spaces of the array of the list. What is on space 1, on space 2, on space 3, to see, or space 4, but we're gonna start counting up from 0. So we're gonna go up to 3. So we're gonna go inside of that, and we're gonna get the attacks that we have available. If we have not, we do not have all the attacks available, some buttons and some text is not going to enable inside the game. Okay, so we're gonna start with the for loop, and this is gonna go inside. This is gonna have 0, which we're gonna start counting from 0, because all of these lists, these arrays start counting from 0, and this is going to go and start if I is less than attack text dot count. Okay, great. And we're gonna go adding to the next space when we finish the loop. Okay, great. Okay, so inside this loop we want to know if I is less than attacks dot count, We want to know how many attacks are available. Then when we find out how many attacks are available, we're gonna go into attack text. Remember, we set this up in the inspector, which is the one that we have here, which is this one's the attack text, which is the list that we have here. We're gonna go and in the space of I, which is gonna be I, whatever the iteration of this loop is. If it is the first time, it's gonna be 0. If it is the second, it's gonna be 1. If it is the third one, it's gonna be 2. Okay, so whatever I value is in certain moment, we're gonna go and assign the attacks of whom of the creature. We're getting that from here. Remember, we're gonna assign it here, and we're gonna go into the attacks list. We're gonna go into the first or second or third space, whatever this loop is iterating. We're gonna go into the base, and we're gonna get the name of that attack, of that whatever space it is, 0, 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so we're gonna get that name, and we're gonna assign it to that space of the first, second, or third text. Okay, and also we're gonna go into the attack buttons, and also we're gonna go into that space, and we're gonna see if that space 0, 1, 2, 3 is available. We're gonna set it to active. Okay, so we're gonna go into the set active method, and we're gonna say it's true. So we're gonna set the button to active if we find the space for that attack inside of the array or the list. Okay, great. So if we do not find an available space for our attack, because it doesn't exist, because we aren't at that level to enable that attack, we're gonna go into attack text, and we're gonna pass this value to the text. Okay, we're gonna go here, we're gonna pass we're gonna say this, whatever. We're not gonna see this, but we're passing some value just for the sake of it. Okay, and we're gonna go into the attack buttons, we're gonna go into set active, and we're gonna say false. If there is no attack there, if I can't find it, I will put this text just as a placeholder, but I can't even see that because my button is gonna be set to deactivated. Okay, well, so we're gonna save this. Okay, so now we wanna call this method. Where are we gonna call this? Let's go into our battle manager, and right here I have this line. I'm gonna write it again. We're gonna write it again from scratch, and right after I get the data from the creature, from my player, right after I'm starting the battle, I have already the data. I know his name, I know his attacks, I know his level. Now I'm going to get the attacks so I can set them after, when I call I toggle the attack text right here. Okay, so let's go into here, and we're gonna go and say battle dialog box. This is gonna go and set creature attacks. And where are we going to get those creature attacks? We're gonna get them from the player unit, and we're gonna get them from the creature, and we're gonna get them from the attacks. Okay, so that's where we're going to get that info. So this is a list. Remember, this method, the set creature attacks, is asking us for a list. We said it needs a list. It's its argument. It's called attacks. So this is enough for this method for it to run. Okay, so we're gonna save this, and we're going to go back to Unity to see if this is already working. So we're gonna press play. It says we have an error. Okay, invalid expression. int. Okay, let's see for int. Oh, sorry, I missed the I. Okay, remember it's an I. That's the variable that we need here. Okay, so we're gonna save that. Let's go back into Unity. If all the errors have resolved, let's clear this. Okay, we're gonna press play. Okay, it's calling us other semicolon. Sorry for that. Okay, we're gonna save that. We're gonna go back. Okay, it's saying we need a semicolon here. Okay, so Unity is sometimes it's very specific about the errors that you have. It's gonna help you here. The console it's gonna help you, but sometimes it's not. It's gonna be very ambiguous. Okay, so you're gonna have to think. So this is very easy. These errors were very easy. It was telling me exactly where my code wasn't working. So I'm gonna save this. Going to go back into Unity. We're gonna clear this one. Let's see. This one says list game object does not contain a definition for set active. Okay, so we're gonna see if that works. Set active, attack buttons, set active to false. So let's try commenting this just for now to see if it resolves, and we're gonna come back to fix that. Okay, so we're gonna clear this. Okay, we're gonna go into play mode. Okay, so it's working all right. We have a select in action. Okay, so now we can go into our button, into fight. Let's click submit, and there it is. We now have the attacks in its text. So the next thing that we want to do is update this info with the type of attack and the power points of each attack, depending if we have used it or not. Okay, so this is already working. Okay, so we're gonna fix something here, because as you can see, we're gonna run it again. We're gonna press play. When we go into the attacks buttons, we have no button selected, so we gotta fix it, because it's a bit of a bug with the new input system, but it's very easy to fix. Okay, so we're gonna go into fight, and there it is. Okay, so now we must fix that so we can update depending on the button that we have selected. So we're gonna stop this. So we're gonna try something here to see if it is working. So let's go into the player, and right now the player is level 5, and this spaceman has all of these attacks that all are going to be enabled at level 5. So let's say that our spaceman is at level 2. Okay, so these two attacks shouldn't be enabled at level 2. Okay, so let's see if that works. So let's select our player, let's go into level, and let's set it to 2, and let's see what happens if we press play. Okay, so there it is, it's loading. Let's go into fight mode, and there it is. Okay, see, that is working. Okay, so you can leave it like that, or you can disable those two buttons. We want to disable them. We don't want to see them if we don't have those attacks available. Okay, so we're gonna go into fixing that in a bit. Okay, so we're gonna stop this, and we're gonna go into fixing that. Okay, so where will we fix that? Let's go into the battle dialog box, and this was the line that we had commented. Oh, there it is. There is the issue. Okay, so remember, this attack buttons is an array. It's a list. So we gotta assign here the value of the list, depending on where the loop is iterating. Okay, so we're gonna save this. We're gonna go back to Unity, and we're gonna press play, and we're gonna see that those buttons of the attacks that don't exist are gonna be disabled. Okay, so we're gonna press play. Okay, we'll wait for it to load. Okay, we're gonna stop this. Remember, these errors are gonna happen when you have something on the UI selected before you press play. They have nothing to do with the code. So we're gonna stop this, and yes, I had selected the player, so I'm gonna unselect it. I'm gonna press play, and see, no errors. Great, so there it is. Everything's working great. We select an action, We press fight, and there it is. We have no buttons for the attacks that aren't enabled depending on this level of our spaceman, which is level 2. Great. So now we gotta go and we're gonna fix that the thing that doesn't select automatically a button, okay? Because we need that, okay? We need that first before we can update this, because if we don't select a button, this is gonna be broken because this info updates depending on the selected button here, okay? So we're gonna stop this and we're gonna go into fixing that first, okay? So this is fixed in the battle dialog box script, okay? So let's open that script, okay? And we're gonna go into the variables and we're gonna set a new variable, okay? We're gonna set a new variable, and this variable is going to be called, we're gonna set it as the last one. This is gonna be called public button, and this is gonna be called primary attack button, okay? Great. So this is gonna be public because we wanna set it on the inspector. Okay, so we're gonna save this, and then we're going to go into the toggle attacks method, and we wanna set that button to be the one that is selected, okay? So we're gonna set the primary attack button, and we're gonna see we have a method select. Great. There it is. Because this is a button, we have the select method available, okay, from the library of Unity engine.ui. Okay, so we're gonna save this. We're gonna go back into the engine, and we're gonna go into battle dialog box. Battle dialog box is asking for a primary attack button, which is gonna be attack 1. So let's drag this into here. Okay, great. So we're gonna go into play mode just to confirm that that is working. We're gonna wait for it to load. Great, everything's working all right. We're gonna go into fight mode, and there it is. Yes, now it's selected. So we're gonna change the color of the selected color of these 4 attack buttons. Okay, so we're gonna select them. Let's go into selected color, and we were using a bit of blue with the others. Let's try this pink just for the sake of it, just for clarity, visual clarity. Okay, so we're gonna go and press play. We're gonna wait for it to load. We're gonna select an action, and there it is. Okay, now we have a clear color to see which of our attacks is selected. So we're gonna go back into having a level for our player that enables us all the attacks just for the sake of it. Okay, so let's go into player, and we're gonna set this to level 6. Okay, so we're gonna press play. We're gonna wait for it to load. We have the message for our creature. Great, select an action, fight, and there it is. Okay, this is working great, and this works as I told you with WASD. It is enabled by default in the new input system. You can use the arrows on your keyboard, or you can use your controller. Okay, so we're gonna stop this, and now we're gonna go and we wanna update the info for the PowerPoint text and the type text of the attack. Okay, so we're going to go and do that. Okay, so we're going to go into the battle dialog box script. Let's open that one. Okay, great. And at the end of it, we're gonna add a new method. Okay, and this method is gonna be called set creature attacks. Okay, we're gonna set it to public for now. Maybe we're gonna use it in the battle manager, but maybe we're gonna use it here. We'll see. Okay, so let's set it to public void set creature attacks. Oh no, set creature set attack description. Okay, set attack description. That is gonna be the method that we're gonna use. Okay, great. So set attack description. We're gonna need also a list of class of the class attack. Okay, so we're gonna correct this. Great. This is gonna be named attacks. That is gonna be the attacks we need. So we're gonna open and close curly brackets, and we're gonna start here. So we're gonna be using a game object. And which game object it's gonna be? It's gonna be in real time. We want to know which is the selected button in real time. Okay, so we're gonna start with a variable of type game object. This is gonna be called selected button, and we're gonna set this one to event system, and we want to go into current, and we want to go into current selected game object. So if this didn't work, you gotta add a new library. Okay, so I'm gonna erase that just for the sake of it. So I'm gonna erase this one because I had added it a bit of time ago. So I'm gonna add this new library. We wanna use this library, which is the one that is gonna let us know which is the game object that is selected in all of the game at a certain moment, at a certain time. So we're gonna be using the Unity engine dot event systems library. Great. So we're gonna save that. We're gonna go down there back, and as I said, we're gonna go into the event system library. We want to know which is the current, and we want to know which is the current selected game object. Whatever it is, we want to know that. Okay, why? Because we're gonna go here, we're gonna create these conditionals. Okay, so I think we can do this with some type of loop, but I'm gonna do this in the conventional conditionals just for the sake of clarity. Okay, so we can read this in a clear way. So if selected button is equal to attack buttons 0, which is the first attack button, if the attack button in the first space is equal to this, the current selected game object, then I'm going to update the info here. Okay, so what am I gonna update? I'm gonna update the pp text. I'm gonna go into the text component, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be equal to, let's open this one. This is gonna be let's open curly brackets to set it to a data value. So attacks, we're gonna say this is gonna be equal to 0, and we're gonna say we wanna go into its pp. See, so automatically the IntelliSense lets me go into the power points of that attack that is selected at that moment. Okay, so we want to go into the power points at that moment, and then we want to set this to, so let's stop that there. Let's close outside of the curly brackets. Let's add this one, and we want to go open curly brackets again. Let's close them, and we want to go to see what is the base number of the power points that this creature has available. We go into attacks, we go into its first space in the list, we go into base. Remember, this is the base power points, not the current ones. We go into base, and then we go into power points. Great. So now we're gonna close this one with semicolon. Okay, great. So now we're gonna save this. We're gonna go into the next line, and now we wanna update the type of the attack that we have selected. So we wanna go into the type text variable. We wanna go into its text component, and we're gonna do the same here. Okay, we're gonna set this one to open curly brackets, close curly brackets. This is gonna be attacks space 0, the first space. We wanna go into the base, and we wanna go into the type. There it is. That's the place where we're getting this data. Okay, so we're gonna save that, and now if the selected button is the first one, we should get that info updated on the components, on the objects that we have here, the pp text and the type text. Okay, so we're gonna select this one. We're gonna save this one to see just if this one is working. We're gonna end this by adding the code for the other four spaces, okay? So where are we going to call this? Because this is in real time, we want the data in real time. We're gonna call this in the update. So for now, we're gonna do it in the update inside of the battle dialog box script because it is already running. So we're gonna set this one to the update. Okay, great. And inside the update, I wanna call the set attack description, and I need a list of those attacks. And where am I gonna get that? I'm gonna get it from the player unit, from the player unit creature, and from the attacks. Okay, great. So that's what that method wanted as an argument. Okay, it wanted a list of attacks. And where am I getting it? From my battle unit. Remember, we added the variable for the battle unit. For the player unit, we weren't using it, so this is where we use it, here in the update, to see the attack that is selected. Okay, so we're gonna save this, and we're gonna see if this works just for the first attack, and then we're gonna finish this. Okay, so let's go and save this, and let's go back into Unity. Let's wait for it to load. Let's press play, and yes, we have the text. It is working great. Selecting action. Let's press fight. And there it is. See? Now we have 20 of 20 power points. It's of type shock. And if we go into the other attacks, it's not updating yet. Okay, because we haven't added a conditional for that. Okay, so we're gonna go and do that. So we're gonna stop it. Let's go into battle dialog box. Let's go to the end. And now this is pretty easy. We just gotta copy and paste mostly with the info of this one and change it. Okay, so we're gonna say this one, and else if. Okay, and else if we're gonna need 3 else ifs. Okay, great, 3 else if. Okay, great. So now inside each else if, we're gonna copy this, and we're gonna change the values. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this, and this is gonna be for the space 1, space 2, and space 3 inside that array, inside the list of attacks. Okay, and I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna paste it here and here. Let's set that there. Great. And I'm gonna copy and paste it there. Great. So I'm gonna update this. So this is selected button 1. So this is gonna be value 1, value 1, value 1. This is gonna be number 2. So value 2, value 2, and value 2. And finally, we change the values for the last button. So see, pretty easy, just copy and paste. And now we have the complete method that is gonna update us the data of the selected attack in real time. Okay, so we're gonna save this, and we're gonna go back into Unity, and this should already be working. Okay, we're gonna wait for it to load. We're gonna press play, and there it is. It's working okay. We have the message, we select an action, we have digital shock. Let's see if it's updating the data. Oh, great. Mental stun, plasma shot. See, grenade, explosive. Great. We have everything updating already. Okay, so this was a great lesson. We made great progress. We are already seeing something that works. And in the next and last lesson of this series of how to build this system, we're going to go finally into making these attacks work, the player attacks and the enemy attacks, so we can create the full game loop. But this is already looking great. Okay, so see you in the next one.
If I got $1 for every time that my life took a sour turn. I be rich and rolling baller and hollering at your girl. I be making little money and spending it like I'm rich. I be making bad decisions and thinking that I'm the